Operation Plan. I woke up right at dawn. I'd gone to bed early yesterday, so I was well rested. I felt a dizzying sensation, the kind you get after a massive system update. Things I hadn't understood before were now clear. The continental distribution map of this planet, for instance. There were several continents, but it seemed humans only lived on this one. The other continents were only known to have animals and demonic beasts. This planet, or perhaps I should say this world, was called Eris by its people. The name of the continent was Celis. When I displayed this continent's map in a virtual window, a colorful map appeared, with countries painted in different shades. They were large patches of white. These were either regions that didn't belong to any country or were still unknown due to a lack of information. The ratio was about 40% colored and 60% white. In total, there were 54 countries. None of this information mattered. Iris. Good morning, Captain. Morning. There are a few things I want to confirm. First, this planet's location. Why are we so far off our original course? No, this is more than just off course. We're in a completely different sector of space, aren't we? I do not know. I have no data regarding our exit coordinates in a forced warp-out scenario like this one. What's your best guess? As you know, Captain, the ship's position during hyperspace travel can only be determined probabilistically. I surmise that because we exited warp without following standard procedures, the materialization process was executed before the probabilities could converge. I had no idea what she was talking about. In simple terms, I believe you could say we were unlucky. Suddenly, it became a lot easier to understand. It's true, I've always had bad luck. That was a reason I could fully accept. Next, the Empire's projected survey time for this sector. How do you know something like that? I know the algorithm that determines survey sectors. This algorithm has not been changed in the last 500 years. While it's possible it may change in the future, this is a projected time frame assuming it remains the same. 1,000 years from now? So rescue is hopeless. This figure is merely a probabilistic estimate. It is possible it could be sooner. Then what are the chances of a rescue arriving within my lifetime? A probability infinitesimally close to 0. I see. Figured as much. The Empire's method for finding the bug's homeworld was to dispatch numerous fleets to a target sector and map it intensively. This was a logical approach. Missing even one star system would render the entire survey meaningless. Naturally, the area that could be surveyed at once was a tiny fraction of the vastness of space, and the process took an enormous amount of time. However, if we hadn't strayed this far from our original route, the Ares would have likely been discovered by a friendly ship within 100 years at worst. All right, on to the main topic. How reliable is that probability? It was calculated based on the latest survey result in appearance patterns. In that sense, it can be considered reliable. However, a probability is still just a probability. I cannot say anything more than that. She was right. Damn it. What am I supposed to do? What should I do? There is nothing the captain can do. Right. There's nothing I can do. Among the information Eris had selected for the update, there were many interesting things, but all of it faded into insignificance next to a particular set of reports. First, because this planet's location was so far from our original route, the estimated time for the Imperial military to find the Ares, or rather this planet, was about 1,200 years from now. Of course, this wasn't a definite prediction. For example, if the Imperial military were to be reinforced far beyond Eris's projections, this period would be significantly shortened. The reverse was also true. And the second report, Iris's prediction, within that 1200-year window before the Empire's arrival, the probability of the bugs appearing in this star system was 88%. In other words, there was a very high chance this planet would be attacked by the bugs. When that might happen was anyone's guess. For example, how much could you upgrade the ship in 500 years? FTL communication facilities could be constructed by dismantling and recycling several sections, but they naturally will not operate without a reactor. Can't you build a reactor? Impossible. We do not have the resources to build one. Even if we did, reactor construction would require a large-scale dock. It is far beyond the capabilities of the maintenance spots. So it's hopeless after all. Oh, God. Before I was assigned to the Iris, back when I was in the Star-class heavy cruiser Theo II Space Marine Corps, I went on a rescue mission to a colony world attacked by the bugs. We were too late. 70% of the inhabitants had been killed. After we annihilated the bugs in that system, we Marines landed on the planet to assist with reconstruction. It was a true hellscape. God, is that same tragedy going to be repeated on this planet? A long silence followed. The quiet lasted for about 10 minutes. What if we raise the scientific level of this planet's humanity? There is no way it could be done in time. Even if we aimed to complete a reactor at the midpoint 600 years from now, I do not believe they could reach a scientific level capable of constructing a reactor in orbit within that time frame. Why not? There are numerous problems, including education, human capital, and resource development. For instance, how do you plan to educate the people of this planet? She was right. We'd have to teach them science from the most basic principles. And in a world where magic is highly developed, I couldn't imagine people would be eager to learn science. Force them to learn? How? Iris, I've decided to seize this planet. I'll take it over and force its people to learn science if I have to. Acknowledged. Huh? You're not going to object. I have no reason to object. The captain has the authority to do so. No way. I'm talking about forcibly seizing an inhabited human planet. Isn't that a violation of military regulations? This planet has not been incorporated into the Imperial Empire. Therefore, it does not constitute a violation of military regulations. But I can't believe a mere captain would have that kind of authority. Captain Corinth is not a mere captain. You are the supreme commander of this sector. In a sector without a governor, the supreme commander acts as the representative of the sector's Adel government. In other words, in this sector, the captain's will is the Empire's will. That's ridiculous. How could something so absurd be true? Who the hell came up with a system like this? Still, it was convenient, to say the least. I can't just give up and do nothing. I'm going to fight this with everything I've got. By the way, since this planet is not Imperial territory, the words invasion or occupation would be more fitting than seizure. Invasion has a bit of a bad image. Occupation, fine, I can work with that. Iris, we will, scratch that. Let me do it again. It's not often you get a chance to say a cool line like this. I want to say it right. Iris, we the Imperial military, in the name of the Galactic Human Empire, hereby occupy this planet Ares and claim it as Imperial territory. Acknowledged. Iris is no fun. She could at least play along a little bit. No one has ever incorporated an inhabited human planet into the Empire through occupation. If you accomplish this, your name will go down in history, Captain. As the worst criminal in Imperial history, you mean? Whatever. Iris, I have no intention of giving up easily. I will save the people of this planet. I swear it.
Of course, even though I say occupation, I have no intention of using force indiscriminately. There's no point. For now, we need to secure a foothold for the occupation. That place will become the capital of this planet, Ares. Select a candidate site considering location, resources, and other factors. In that case, this location would be optimal. The continental map appeared, and a red dot appeared in the center of a fairly large white area. It's not too far from here. Why there? First, drone spectral analysis shows that the quantity of mineral resources is orders of magnitude greater than in other regions of the continent. There is also an abundance of timber and stone for building our base. Furthermore, its fossil fuels and energy resources, such as demonic beasts, are the richest on the continent. There is no better candidate site. Demonic beasts are an energy resource? Wait a minute, is this place by any chance the Great Forest of Fiends? That is correct. That's the place supposedly teeming with demonic beasts that are constantly spilling out into human territories? Right. Are you sure that's okay? It is not a problem. All right, then I'll leave the base development entirely to you. Do as you see fit. My guess is this base will be our imperial territory for the next 20 years or so. It'll take a lot of time just to gather people and build a town. If we proceed at such a leisurely pace, we will never make it in time, Captain. We must build a city of at least 10,000 people within 5 years, or we will not have a chance. I see. A city in 5 years. That's a tall order.
Should I just occupy an existing country? No, committing a massacre to prevent a massacre would be self-defeating. I don't expect to get through this with clean hands, but I want to avoid that if at all possible. Constructing a reactor in orbit will be a massive undertaking, requiring the mobilization of this entire planet's population. I have to avoid reducing the already small population of this world. But even if Iris develops the Great Forest of Fiends and builds a city, who would want to live there? If some shady character told me, hey, I know a great secret spot, want to move in? I definitely wouldn't abandon my current life for it. So, how about starting as part of an existing country? For example, if I started as a noble and announced, hey, I've got a new settlement. I'll give you tax breaks if you move in. I could probably expect people from other parts of that country to migrate. It seems like a convenient way to gather people. In any case, I should probably take some time to think about this. I'll think about how to gather people. Give me some time. Acknowledged. By the way, as of right now, what's the probability of being able to build a reactor in orbit in 500 years? A rough estimate is fine. Let's see. I would say about 2%. Oh, for someone who said it was impossible a minute ago, that's not a bad number. That is because I did not expect the captain to declare his intention to occupy the planet. The probability has increased slightly. I see. Maybe things are starting to move in a better direction. It was time for breakfast, so I cut the connection with Iris and headed to the dining hall. Solaria's and Selena's groups were already there, drinking tea and chatting about something. I'm glad they seemed to be getting along. Morning. What were you all talking about? Good morning, Alan. Solaria and her friends were telling us about this continent. Oh? Like what? About the nobility on this continent. It's really helpful since we didn't know anything. Ooh, I want to hear that too. I'll have to ask Sharon and the others about anything I missed. I'm interested in that too. Please, tell them all about it. Before that, Alan, I have a question for you too. What is it? Alan, are you, by any chance, royalty? What's this all of a sudden? There's no way I'm royalty. Where did you even get an idea like that? No, if you're not, that's fine. Sorry for asking a strange question. Solaria looked somewhat relieved. I wonder what that was about. Just then, breakfast was served.
Today's breakfast looked to be hamburgers. They were piled high on a large platter. They probably made effective use of the leftover ground meat from yesterday's hamburger steaks. The specially baked buns for the burgers were filled with cheese, a lettuce-like vegetable, a thick patty, and a thin slice of tomato, with an Aurora sauce made from ketchup and mayonnaise. This is delicious. A bit heavy for the morning, but good food is good food. Wow, this is delicious too. Sharon and Selena were devouring their burgers with gusto. Celeria, too, of course. The mountain of hamburgers on the platter disappeared in no time. It seemed the conversation about nobles had been about the different ranks of nobility. Since it was on topic, I asked something I wanted to know. Is it possible for a commoner to become a noble? Well, it's very rare. In the Starvate Kingdom, I believe about 10 years ago, an S-ranked adventurer party defeated 3 wyverns, and the party's leader was granted the title of Baron. I remember that story. It was a reward for saving a village that was being attacked by the wyverns. What? All you have to do is get rid of some beasts? I don't think just defeating them is enough. An adventurer who gets appointed as a noble would have to be famous and popular with the people. That's right. The kingdom also uses it as a way of demonstrating its own prestige by granting titles to such adventurers. I see. So simply slaying monsters isn't enough. Famous and popular, huh? That's a tough one. It seems things won't be so easy. After breakfast, Celeria and her friends went to the courtyard for their usual sword practice. Normally, I'd be working on magic tools, but today I had something to do. Selena, Sharon, could you two change into your uniforms and wait in your room? I have something to discuss. Their expressions turned serious as they replied, "Understood." They probably thought it was a continuation of last night's talk. In a way, it was. I returned to my room and put on my uniform for the first time in a while. Iris, come here. Understanding my meaning, a life-sized Iris in uniform appeared in the room. Of course, it wasn't her real body, but a phantom created by nanometers interfering with my optic nerves. Do the two of them know about the matter? No, I have not informed them. I see. I'm going to explain it to them now. Come with me. I left my room and knocked on the door to Sharon and Selena's room.
Come in.
When I entered, they noticed my uniform, hastily stood up, and snapped to attention. It seemed Iris intended to play the role of my adjutant. At ease, relax. Selena then rummaged through her luggage and brought something over. My apologies, Your Excellency. I forgot to give you this. I looked and saw that it was a Commodore's rank insignia. A Commodore's insignia was a single comet mark. This looked cool. I'll switch it out right away.
Thank you, Warrant Officer Conrad.
I replaced the Space Marine Lieutenant's insignia with the Fleet Commodore's insignia. Somehow, this room just didn't set the right mood. Iris, could you make this room look like a Space Marine briefing room? Instantly, the room's interior transformed. The size of the room remained the same, but the decor became high-tech. The wall behind me was now a large screen, and the table had become a console. This atmosphere felt nostalgic. The two of them were looking around, fascinated. The reason I had you change into your uniforms is none other. This. As I mentioned last night, we have determined the policy for us, the Imperial military. Last night, I received various pieces of information from Iris regarding our circumstances. Among them was a crucial report. I told the two of them about the report, that the Empire would likely discover this planet in about 1,200 years, and that within that 1,200-year period, there was an 88% chance the bugs would appear in this star system. In short, the people of this planet are facing an unprecedented crisis. The humans of this world are not Imperial citizens.
However, every other inhabited human planet discovered to date has been incorporated into the Empire. Had Eris been discovered sooner, it too would have undoubtedly been brought into the fold. Therefore, I consider the people of Eris to be quasi-imperial citizens. For this reason, I have decided to act to save them. However, the Eris is heavily damaged, and we have lost most of our equipment. There is not much we can do. After consulting with Eris, we came to the consensus that the only way to save the people of this planet is for us to advance their scientific level and have them, with their own hands, build a reactor in orbit. So, how do we raise their scientific level? We don't have time for persuasion and gradual education. In light of this emergency, I have made a decision. We, the Imperial military, in the name of the Galactic Human Empire, will occupy this planet, Eris, and claim it as Imperial territory.
Whoa, they both exclaimed. Their reaction was great. I wish Eris would take a lesson from them. By making it Imperial territory, the people of this planet will become Imperial citizens, and we will bear the true duty we swore upon our enlistment. Wait a minute. I swore the oath, but did Selena and Sharon skip it? I glanced at Eris. They both took the oath. Good. Of course, the objective of this occupation is the advancement of this planet's scientific level. We will first secure a base and establish our structure. Once the systems of governments and education are in place, we will gradually expand our dominion beyond the borders of Imperial territory. It will be a long and arduous battle, an unprecedented, long-term operation. It is likely we won't complete the occupation in our generation. We will pass the mission on to the next generation of elite Imperial soldiers. I want you to build a foundation that will serve as a model for those elites. What do you say? Will you fight alongside me? Of course, I will fight with you, Your Excellency. Of course, I will fight with you too, Your Excellency. There could be no mission more worthwhile than this. I see. Thank you, both of you. I'm truly grateful. All right. While the general plan is decided, the details are still a blank slate. However, if you have any questions, I will answer them. Are there any? What is the target completion date for the reactor? Asked Selena. Eris and I have tentatively set a target of 500 years from now. This is not a number based on any solid evidence, but rather a provisional goal. It may change as details are solidified and progress is made. However, there's always a chance the bugs could appear in this system at any moment. I want to move the schedule up as much as possible. Will there be reinforcements for the Imperial military? Of course, I'm thinking about reinforcements, but more than anything, they must be people we can trust. To the people of this world, we are invaders. I want to carefully vet and welcome only trustworthy individuals into the Imperial military, like Celeria and the others. Celeria and her friends are certainly trustworthy, but they have their own lives, and personally, I don't want to drag them into this. For some reason, both of their faces turned beet red and looked down. I guess talking about kids was too soon for girls their age. They don't even have boyfriends yet. That was a blunder. Are there any other questions? I glanced at Eris and thought I saw her smirking. I did a double take, but she had a serious face. Right. Eris rarely smiles. I must have imagined it. Is that all for questions? All right. That's the end of the serious talk. Oh, I forgot to mention something important. For now, your term of service will be 5 years. I'll confirm your intentions every 5 years, so you can decide then if you want to continue. We can quit? Of course. You signed a contract when you enlisted, right? That's still valid. Oh,
It would be a great help if you could let me know about 6 months in advance if you want to leave. Right, and of course, you'll be paid. Let's see, a monthly salary. Considering the special circumstances for now, I'll pay you in guineas, equivalent to 10 times the standard Imperial military pay grade, and of course, there'll be bonuses. Whoa! Think of it as hazard pay. Your Excellency, you sound quite different from a moment ago. I was trying to be serious earlier because I wanted to ask you properly. This is something that will affect the rest of your lives, so I thought I had to be serious for once. The me right now is your friend Alan, so drop the Your Excellency. I see. You two, I'm counting on you from now on. Understood, Alan? They said in unison.